Hey everyone, Jacob Morgan here, and today I again wanted to talk a little bit about employee experience. But I want to go into a little bit more detail into how we actually came to this point of needing to invest in employee experience. For some reason, this is still one of the number one topics that a lot of organizations want me to speak about. It's one of the hottest topics that people are posting about online. How do we create these great places so that people actually want to show up to work? All of that really falls under this realm and this umbrella of employee experience. Now, a few videos back, I introduced the 3 employee experience environments. Today, what I wanted to do is talk a little bit more about how we evolved, how this concept of employee experience actually came to be. Where did it come from? Why is it even here? And I'm actually going to use my book as a prop. In a lot of the other videos, I usually have a piece of paper and I jot some notes down on there. But I actually have an image from my book, which I wanted to share with you. And this is what I wanted to talk about today. So hopefully you guys can all see this. Utility, productivity, engagement, and experience. So this is how employee experience actually evolved, how it started, where it came from. Now, if you were to think back a couple decades ago, actually probably even more than a couple decades ago, in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, a lot of our organizations were structured purely just based on utility. In other words, what are the bare bone essential tools that an employee needs to get their jobs done? A phone, a computer, a desk, like that's it. And employees would just show up to work and it was kind of like, here's the stuff that you need to work, here's the stuff that you need to get your job done. And that's it. We're not going to talk about engagement. We're not going to talk about leadership styles. None of that. Here's what you need to do to get your job done. Go do it. And then what happened is a little bit of time went on, and we moved from this era of utility to this era of productivity. And this era of productivity was really about what can we do to make employees work better, harder, faster, stronger, as the Daft Punk or Kanye West song goes. And this was a time when we were really trying to improve productivity. Taylorism was very popular at this time, where managers would literally actually take stopwatches and time employees and then try to shave seconds off of the tasks that they were doing. I mean, imagine what this would be like today, where you're sending an email to somebody and you have a manager standing over your shoulder with a stopwatch who says, you know, I noticed it took you 32 seconds to send that email. Do you think we can get it down to 20 seconds, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about. It was that nuts. It was that crazy. And it was really all about repeatable processes, optimization, productivity, and just trying to extract as much as we could from employees, treating them like the lemons that they all are, right? And then we got to this era of engagement. And this era of engagement was kind of like the Enlightenment era for the business world, or that's how I like to think of it at least. And this era of engagement was really all about how do we start thinking about employee happiness, right? We gave them bare bone essential tools. Then we moved to this era of productivity. How do we extract as much as we can from them? And then we got to this era of happiness. How do we make employees happy? What sort of stuff can we give them? We're going to do annual surveys. We're going to do whatever we can to make employees happy. And we've become very, very obsessed with this concept of happiness. And that has worked well for a while. But as I talked about in a previous video, the challenge with this kind of era of engagement is that we've been in it for a while. And we've never spent more time, more money, more resources in this era of employee engagement. Yet for some reason, the scores are not moving. In many cases, they're going down. And in some cases, if you're lucky, they're just staying the same. And so this has a lot of organizations around the world and the managers who run them scratching their heads wondering, what's going on here? This is supposed to be the era of employee happiness. We're doing surveys. We're giving them free stuff. We're giving them free food and hot yoga, and they can bring their dogs to work, and we have beautiful offices. Why are we not seeing the ROI out of this? And this is what's causing us to move on kind of the next stage beyond engagement. And this is where we're moving to, or I would hope where we actually are today, is this era of employee experience. Employee experience isn't so much how do we make employees happy. I mean, that's certainly a part of it, right? We all want to be happy and fulfilled at work. But really, employee experience is much more about changing core workplace practices inside of our organization around our people. It's very much not just focusing on perks and benefits and free food and that kind of stuff. It's really focusing on the 3 environments that I talked about in an earlier video: culture, technology, and physical space. How do employees feel working for you? What are the tools and resources they have access to do their jobs? And what are the spaces in which employees actually work? And this is one level, I think, beyond engagement, because it's actually making kind of the deeper changes to the organization. So I kind of think of like employee engagement as the Swedish, the light massage, the just kind of light touching, and the employee experience is like the deep tissue, really getting down in there, getting to those muscles and really making those core changes to the organization. So that's how we got to where we are today. We've gone through these kind of 4 eras, which I talked about. Again, started off with utility, productivity, engagement, and experience. And this era of employee experience is still new. It's still very foreign to many organizations around the world, but there are some kind of leading the way, right? We're starting to see more conversation, more of these job titles start to emerge. But I absolutely believe that at least for the next 5-10 years, probably even far longer than that, this era of employee experience is going to be huge. It's the next big battleground and the competitive advantage for organizations around the world. So that's it for this video. Just wanted to give a high-level overview of how we got to where we are and why we got to where we are. I hope you enjoyed, and of course, if you do find these videos useful and informative, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I will see you next time.